Goodfellas. See, Henry Hill and Tommy DeVito. So, yep, it's coming to this right now. Delivering what some people consider to be Martin Scorsese's major magnum opus. Has Martin Scorsese made a film that has surpassed Goodfellas? Arguably. But people do consider this one to be like kind of his be-all end-all. When you look on IMDb and when you look at other professional critics that have been film critics for decades, lots of them do consider Goodfellas to be like Scorsese's, like the film that Scorsese hasn't been able to top yet. In terms of directing, yeah, that's probably true in terms of just sheer directing. Although Scorsese did do an equally great job in directing Raging Bull, which is almost like at Orson Welles standards, Goodfellas simply has more of that sort of touch to it. Although Raging Bull does have lots of Orson Welles sorts of styles to it, lots of it does resonate, but Goodfellas, because one reason because it's longer, it simply has more to it. There's more. But also, I don't know, this movie's more fun. It's Scorsese's one of his most fun films, and it's one of his most pleasing films because the movie is just extremely, extremely well made. It's darkly funny and very, very well written. One of the most foul plays, well, not foul plays, most foul screenplays ever written. It just features so many iconic lines. Some things are just so memorable. Yeah, it's great throughout. Now, there's two gripes. Well, okay, one gripe that I have with the film, one gripe that I have with people that are fans of the film. The gripe that I have with the fans of the film is when people say that when this lost the 1991 Oscars to Dances with Wolves Best Picture, Best Director, people sometimes consider that, well, no, not sometimes, they often consider that to be one of the biggest travesties ever. Why? I mean, have you seen Dances with Wolves? Just because Goodfellas is more enjoyable and more fun doesn't mean that it's better. I already made a video last year about why. I mean, like, okay, if you like Goodfellas better, fine. But last year I made a video saying why it shouldn't be considered a major travesty. So, yeah, I recommend that. I'm going to put the link in the description below. I recommend that you see that because I go into way more depth on why it's really not that big a thing. Second reason, well, my major gripe with the film itself is the movie. I'm probably the only person I consider that thinks like this. I think the movie's a big calling card for the mafia. So the movie deals with Henry Hill, who has always wanted to be a gangster, and it's a real life story too. Henry Hill, who's played by Ray Liotta, wants to be a major gangster because he wants to gain respect and admiration, and he never wants to work. He doesn't want to actually work. He just wants to laze about and be a very powerful mobster. But because he's not a full time, he'll never be a made man. But as long as he gets to reach the height of what he's capable of, that's okay. But eventually he grows a little too greedy, and the mobsters betray him, and he sells out to the witness protection program, where he must live life as an average Joe afterwards. Here's what I don't like about the film, okay? Henry Hill steals, he cheats, he blows things up, he does just about every single thing illegal, and the movie presents all these bad habits as being totally fun. I mean, sure, the movie does show his paranoia grow, and when the mobsters betray him, he ultimately does deserve it. And yeah, we get to see how evil some of these mobsters are, like Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito character and Jimmy the Gent, who's played by Robert De Niro. Those are pretty evil dudes, but the way that the movie presents such things as the stealing and the killing, all that's presented as a ton of fun, and I really didn't like that portion about it. I read the book Wise Guy by Nicholas Pledge, and yeah, the book presents everything. Although the movie is pretty accurate to the book. The movie presents everything as being super dark and evil, and it's way different than the way Scorsese presents some of these mobsters that are nice and kind and almost charming at first. But yeah, I didn't think that was a very good move on Scorsese's behalf. It really should have okay, I can see like them wanting to make the whole thing of bad habits are fun until they're not. But if you ask me, they should have presented a different structural approach to it. Because it's only the last little bit where Henry's paranoia starts to grow and the mob betrays him, and when he sells out. The majority of the movie is him abusing his privileges of being a mobster. And the way that it makes all these bad habits out to be fun, I didn't like that. Oh yeah, I'm going on and on about the thing that I didn't like. But I should say that this is still, despite that major flaw of the film, this is still an all-time favorite of mine. Still an all-time grade. I just simply disagree with people with those two things. Like when people call it the best film that should have won the Oscars and the best mob film ever. Those are my only two gripes about it. But I do love this film. Trust me. So I'm gonna give Goodfellas from 1990 4 stars out of 4.